Before I get into this review of Fallout Season 2, Episode 4, let me ask you a question. How do you feel? How do you feel? Because this past week, and not just this week, but a couple of weeks, there have been serious discussions going on in the fandoms. From Facebook to X to TikTok, wherever you go with social media, and especially YouTube, there are people with opinions on how they feel about the show right now, and how it took its course. And I'm watching both sides of the conversation. So like I said, before I get into this video, it's been a very interesting outlook. You know most of my opinions. I find the show enjoyable. However, have my gripes with the show, how it feels like that everything that the original creators of Fallout have created is just being destroyed. Anything that was major, from the Brotherhood, Shay Sands, to the NCR, Siege Legion, and even the little factions you enjoy, everything's gone. Novak, Camp Golf, and now we're on the Strip itself. In this episode, it's just gone. Everything is in ruins. And I do have a theory for that why, but first, I want to talk about everything else. Is that I've been seeing a lot of talk, especially YouTube. And there's two sides. There really is just two sides that I'm looking at right now, mainly. One is a side where everything is great. They love the show. They love us boosting the game sales. More people are playing the games. Hoorah, excellent. And they're enjoying it. There's nothing wrong whatsoever that's going on. Full on positivity. Then there's the other side. The other side is pissed. The other side is upset. They're upset because it feels like everything, like I said before, is just being destroyed before us because of Todd's jealousy of the original creation of Fallout, mainly New Vegas. Everything's destroyed, leaving that only the east side of the wasteland is doing well, but the west side is just complete ruins. It's so uncivilized. Everything is just, everyone acts like a savage. People don't do things right, or there's no restaurants. Like, when you're walking in New Vegas, you have civilization, from Prim to Good Springs to Novak, and you keep using the 15 years passed. True, but time skips always happen in Fallout. But the fact that everything is falling so behind so badly seems ridiculous. You know, the flea soup scene, which, the normies laughed at? People said, well, in this situation, this woman would have made prickly pears, or she would have had some type of mute fruit, or even boatfly soup. Would it make more sense to sell Lucy boatfly soup instead? She sees her kill a giant boatfly, chop it up, put it in the soup, and she eats the boatfly soup. Unsure, like looking at this disgusting creature, she just put it into the soup, and Lucy would eat it. Would that make more sense? Then wherever you go, everything is just deserted. There's really no people around, and they're complaining about that as well. Then the thing that's going on with Seizure's Legion, like, it was interesting to have the Civil War because they just say when Caesar dies that there will be a petty infighting that's happening, which is happening in the show. But the question is, how did his body end up on that hill right there? How did his body end up there, and why? So a lot of things that you really sit down and think about, it doesn't make any sense. And then the thing when it comes to the two NCR cadets, they're there, but the fact that they never had any communication whatsoever for at least a decade, to hear that, hey, there's people, no one's coming, is ridiculous. The fact that they get no note that, and the NCR has radios. They have radios and stuff. They are able to contact people. The fact that no one contacted them near Camp Gulf is weird. The fact that they didn't bother seeing any other troops around for so many years doesn't make any sense. It doesn't. And when you think about it, it's bad writing. It really is. And the fact that you will bring this stuff up, as the complainers do, the positive people will take that video, watch it, or they claim they watch it, then they post it saying, all they're hearing is people wanting and playing. They call them New Vegas puritists, and that is it. They just call them toxic fandoms, and that is it. They write them off like that. They downplay what they're saying. I'm seeing even people on YouTube, like Synthetic Man, never heard of him, but I was keep hearing more people talking about him, how he's complaining about it, and he made a video about it. I didn't agree with everything he talked about, but some of the stuff he did say made sense. You know, some of the stuff he did, like some of the things that did happen in the show, doesn't make sense. You know, how did Quintus get his hands on a Securitron out inside the Sunset Sarsaparilla factory? You know, and apparently he hacked it and stuff. Okay, he hacked it, but what's it doing all the way out there? You know, why isn't it in the Vegas place? The only one that was out there was, you know, Victor. But Victor's only job is to follow a certain individual around for a house. He's a scout. That makes sense. He's probably scouting out the goal, Cooper Howard. But everything else, any other Securitron that's outside of Vegas makes no sense. And as a war happened, which you probably know it did, it's just that a lot that should have happened didn't happen. The things that did happen doesn't make any sense when you sit down and think about it, when you try to put things together. The thing about being a fan of a fictional franchise is that you follow the lore in the timeline very well. You follow it discreetly. You try to understand it. You put it together. So when you see things like this happen, you can't help but notice it. It's like, okay, this is not right. This doesn't make any sense. What's going on? The thing that people are upset about is I feel like they're not allowed to complain about without someone saying that they're just being a toxic fan, whether there's someone who feels like that everything that they followed for years is being destroyed before their very eyes. And you're not allowed to say anything about it without being criticized as a toxic person. But then again, you can say the same thing about the people who do the toxicity and stuff. So there's that. The positive toxicity that's happening, where they don't say nothing bad about the franchise. Everything's good, everything's hunky-dory, all is good. As long as we get more people into the franchise, that's all that matters. And they seem kind of like suck-ups. Sellouts, one might even say. So there's that. So I think I'll end it there. Because I can go on this for a long, long time, but I don't think I will. It'll be too much. So anyways, let's get on with this. Now, in the beginning of episode 4, we only had one flashback this time. Only one flashback. And that flashback was showing the Battle of Anchorage. Not much of it, there's only one scene. That's all we got to see. One scene. Howard goes in, searching for enemies or survivors, and then he hears a strange noise. But before that, he could see that noise, he got shot down by some communists, some Chinese. Yes, they actually showed Chinese. People were actually shocked. Someone actually put a comment saying, I'm surprised they actually showed actual communist Chinese people, like that. Because the way things are in our world, they're expecting them to be something else, to show them to be sympathetic or something, like they usually like to do. But no, they are the enemies. So they were planning to kill off Cooper Howard, tell them how their leaders will scrap the power armor and make them wear it sometime down the road and stuff like that. And she even said okie dokie, which is okay. That's weird. But anyways, I don't really care about that. What I do care about is that the Deathclaw shows up. Deathclaw shows up, wipes them out, and then you hear the Chinese are retreating and they won, but Howard doesn't think that, they did it. It wasn't them that defeated the Chinese there. But it could have been, because other places was happening in Alaska. So we played the Anchorage thing, but was it really exact telling of what happened there at the Battle of Anchorage? Really? That was up for debate, so we don't know that. So it could be, it could be not. And it's up for discussion, which I would like for it to stay that way. So Deathclaws, as you know, were created before the war. They're genetics from the Jackson chameleon and stuff, and it grew out. So he always knew that thing, and that thing made him scared, fearful of if he ever ran into that thing ever again. So we're back to present day. So we have three storylines. Well, technically just three storylines to talk about, really. I'll get Norm's out the way. Norm is trying to lead the people, having them scavenge for food, and then one of them trying to hint at that there's more to what Bud was up to that he didn't know about. So he's being cautious of certain individuals within the group, Norm is. And they head out looking for whatever it is that they're looking for. Probably shelter. They found food, now they found shelter. I'm pretty sure someone's going to complain about how are people still finding food lying around after all this time. When you really think about it, I know. Game-wise, it makes sense. You just find food around because it's just game-wise. But the fact that there's still food lying around over 200 years after the bombs dropped just proves how terrible people were at scavenging in this world. So terrible that people who don't know, well, I guess they know their way around because they've been in this wasteland before it was a wasteland. But still, the fact that the scavengers themselves fail to find this food so easily, it's just a game reference, I guess. I don't know. It's up for debate. But anyway, let's just move on. Norm things out the way. One I don't really care about is what's going inside the vault. The guy who wanted to seek attention because he wanted to feel like he is needed created his little club, and it got bigger, and they're just wasting all the resources, mainly the water, which they shouldn't be wasting. For some reason, Betty is not being strict on this person, which is weird. Betty had this aura about her, this menacing aura that you don't want to mess with her because she does things that what she has to do to get things done in season 1. In this one, it feels like she's just a pushover. I'm like, what happened? What happened to Betty, who seemed like this old lady who kind of put some fear into people in a way, especially the audience, because the people watching it were like, yeah, she's definitely up to something. You can't trust Betty. She may be old, but she's up to some nifty tricks. This one, not so much. Betty is just easygoing. She's just a pushover. The fact that she allowed this dude to do whatever he wants because he put in some order and stuff like that is ridiculous. Maybe because the way the vault is created through management, like an office work, and if you work in a job and you put in the paperwork and it gets approved, your boss really can't say nothing about it. So I was thinking about that, but the fact that Betty just let things happen is ridiculous. Do you think she would find some way around it? It's like, okay, I gotta do something about this. That, or she's just trying to keep people alive. I don't know. On the other hand, we have Harper. Harper doesn't want to share. And she's only wanting to share unless she can give the what Hank has of hers. And she wants it, whatever it is that Hank was hiding for her. And Betty asks what it is. He says she didn't tell. But it was very important to her. And as things going on, Chat was looking through the stuff, and turns out she's Canadian. She's Canadian. She's not American. She's Canadian. She doesn't belong here. She's not one of us. Stop. That's why she's so evil. You know, the funny thing is, a while back, one of my ideas for a Fallout game is that someone rumored that someone found the recipe for making Nuka-Cola, and if whoever finds the recipe for Nuka-Cola can remake it through the line and create and control the currency of certain parts of the wasteland. So all the factions are trying to find this. Some are trying to destroy it to keep their current currency, while others are trying to find it so they can exploit the currency that's happening within the wasteland. And my other thing is that it exists, but the ones who actually found it are the Canadians. And the Canadians want revenge against the Americans for annexing them all those years. They held on to that grudge in my fan fiction, and they wish to dominate the area that you're in. And you, as a player, can decide which faction gets to dominate this area, or you dominate yourself as that. And what will you do with the recipe for Nuka-Cola as well? Will you spread it to everyone? Will you destroy it? Will you give it to a certain faction? Or will you keep it for yourself and control the currency of the wasteland. You know, that's a good idea for a fall game right there, man. right there. Canadian's Revenge, along with the lure of the recipe for Nuka Cola, right there. It apparently still exists after all these years in the wasteland, but hey, whatever. But I digress. So, anyways, let's get on with Maximus' part. Maximus, I'm starting to understand Maximus more. Despite his character growth, and people even said online that he's the only one of true character growth throughout the show, is that the one thing I realized is that he can't decide things on his own. He really can't. He's one of those dudes who really is a field man, and he needs someone to think for him. He really is. But I think the journey is for him to think for himself eventually, and he can only make decisions at the rash moment when things are happening, which I'm starting to see. Because every time he seems to be easily persuaded when someone is able to sweet talk him or comment on him, he's able to be easily convinced. But you'll gain his trust. But the minute you start insulting him and stuff, he immediately turns on you. You know, like, yo, you're making fun of me. I want nothing to do with you anymore. We've seen this since the beginning of season 1, you know, with his former knights or with Lucy and stuff, where he gets complimented or he gets insulted, he gets angry, he never knows what to do when things are happening on a rash moment. He makes a quick decision, whether it's for the good or for the better. He did that since season 1. He's doing it again in season 2. He killed Xander because he wanted to save the kids at that moment. He was easily persuaded by Xander to ride in the vertebrate. He is swayed by Quintus because Quintus was like a father to him for those years to be his right-hand man. And now he made a rash decision where he was thinking about killing Quintus instead. So in order to pretend to be Xander, he had Titus to what? Damn, like Thaddeus. There, he had Thaddeus to be in the armor, and I'm pretty sure some people groan at that, where how Thaddeus was acting so incompetent and stuff inside the armor. And for the normies, it's for the normies, okay? The normies will enjoy that. We kind of groaned at it. We were like, "What is this? What is this?" And there we have it right there. But and then the others were trying to kiss his butt, you know, trying to say, we're willing to do this, we're willing to do that, just for you to give us the power and stuff like that. Just trying to suck up. But someone stole the relic, of course, which was Maximus' friend, and then they immediately start killing each other. So this entire time, he thought killing Xander would cause some crazy fighting to happen, but instead, it was stealing the relic, which caused his fight. So everything Maximus was doing was really for nothing. Well, if he didn't tell him to take the relic in the first place, his friend gave him the relic. He couldn't kill Quintus. Quintus was still a father to him. And you thought that there was going to be some type of moment where they'll just have a conversation, saying where they'll have some common ground. But when he said that he killed Xander to save a group of kids, and some of them are ghouls, all bets are off the table. Like, you showed mercy to ghouls, man. Ghouls. I gotta put you down. So he starts dodging every little shoot fight, the worst shootout I've ever seen in my life. He locks the door behind him because he couldn't kill him. He didn't want to kill him. Despite everything, he still sees him as a father. And he's running off with Thaddeus, who's still in the power armor and stuff. I wonder what's gonna happen to the kids at the factory and stuff. We'll have to wait and see, but everything's in pandemonium, man. Maximus just ruined like multiple chapters of the Brotherhood right then and there. It was like, wow, man. Congratulations. Good job. Now let's finally talk about Lucy and the Ghoul. Lucy wakes up. She's feeling a bit better after the NCR people helped her out. They were talking to her about Shady Sands, and she found out, the NCR from Shady Sands. She didn't want to say anything, wanted to immediately leave, but they're being so nice to her. They want to recruit her and stuff, talking about how they want to bring justice to Wasteland. But Lucy doesn't want to be part of another group again, people in suits anymore. She wants to be her own person for now. And as they're walking on the road, she is feeling itchy and weird. It's because she got addicted. She got addicted, man. You know that feeling when you take a bunch of drugs. When you take, me personally, I like taking Mentats. I love taking Mentats. I love to feel smart, and I love to have good perception. 'Cause I like to see things before something sees me. So I especially in '76, I'll take them grape ones. I'll take them orange ones. It's just gobble them down, man. Especially when we get inside a big battle. I join a team. We're about to do a crazy event. Going to Mintax, taking the medics, taking the medics. Alright, taking the medics, and I'll take some buff tats, take some buff outs, some psycho and stuff. Just carry down all that drugs, and I drink it down with some Nuka Cola. That's me right there, man. Like, let's do this. But anyways, and the ghouls gave her two options, and one option is to fight it off by going through withdrawals, or take more drugs. And she takes the buff out. She has buff out and stuff. So as she takes the buff out, and they make it finally to the entrance to the strip, and he did say we need to go the free side, but Lucy doesn't want to because these drugs are making her make rash decisions. But the ghoul likes it. He likes this rash version of Lucy a lot. And guess what we see? No one there but king ghouls. The king ghouls. That's right. Like I said, this episode's going to tick a lot of people off, and I don't blame them. I'll be honest with you. Just imagine watching everything that you love about the games and seeing it being destroyed right here and there. And you see the ghouls that are the kings, and only the kings are there. And she shoots them up. And one of them, I think, is the king. And she does the shot that you see in the trailer and headshots him. She's so good that the ghoul's impressed. And she even shoots him up. He's, who cares? He's just a ghoul. And then the ghoul looks at her like, wait, what? Oh my gosh. Okay, see, like I said, there are parts in this show that I do enjoy, It seems like this, I do enjoy it. Yes, I hate that she's shooting the ghouls. Yes, I hate that everything in Freeside, well, everything around the strip is destroyed. Even destroyed Securitrons and stuff. So they go inside the strip, and everything's in ruins. And she picks up an egg, and the egg is a Deathclaw egg. And there you see the Deathclaw. And when I saw that Deathclaw, which looks very good, however, I kind of wish they did the Deathclaw based off of 3 in New Vegas. To be honest with you, the Deathclaws in 4 and 76 aren't a threat. They're not, dude. And not even without power armor. I mean, in Fallout 4, I can take out Deathclaw with a 9mm pistol. I just need to sit in a nice corner with tons of ammo and shoot it in the head multiple times, and I can take it down. It's ridiculous. And so they're very weak. And even in 76, they have a bit more abilities, but even then I can still take them out easily in 76. But in New Vegas in 3, them things were walking nightmares. They were tall. They had the long things. They were skinny. There was something out of some eldritch horror novel and stuff. And how they did the ripping of the claws like that and stuff. Like, the old Deathclaws were a lot more terrifying. So when I saw this, I did like the look of it, but I kind of wish they did the 3 New Vegas Deathclaws. That would have been better. Oh my gosh. There's actually a meme I saw, a video meme of the smiling friends of Mr. Boss and Alan. They're having a situation, they're in Fallout, and they think they're about to face of or 76 Deathclaw, but they see a New Vegas Deathclaw, and he grabs Alan. He's like, "I'll be right back." He goes, "Alan, we are so fucked." You thought it was gonna be a 4 or 76 Deathclaw. No, it's a New Vegas Deathclaw, and those are the worst kinds. That was hilarious. But anyways, and that's how the episode ends. Run away from the Deathclaw because it's too powerful for them to deal with. Lucy was all righty, man. She's still on the drugs. So that's the end of the episode. I do like how things are pushing forward pretty fast when it comes to Maximus' story. It's going by pretty fast. Everything else is taking its nice pace. Like I said, when I sat down after I watched the episodes twice, and I was looking at other people's discussion about it, there are a lot of things that don't make sense that are happening in the show that you question, but at the same time, there's also things that, like, where is everybody? It's a question. Where is everyone? In Fallout, in the first season, you had a lot of people in the first season. Think about it. You had a lot of people. You went to Quincy, right? Was it Quincy? No. Damn, Philly. You went to Philly. There was a lot of people. Then you went to other places where people were by themselves and stuff like that. You went to Vault 4 and stuff like that. You even went to Mo Davis' place. Everywhere you went, there was at least people there and stuff. In this one, have you noticed in Fallout Season 2, it feels like there's less people. I think most of the budget went to the effects, the costumes, and everything else, but they couldn't have a bigger cast. Because you already have the people from Vault 32 and 33, then you have the people from Vault 31, then you have the Caesar's Legion, but that's the only time you saw a group of people outside of the Wasteland in this season was with Caesar's Legion. And I guess you can say the cons, but that's it. Everywhere else, it's just been like 1 or 2 people at a time at each place, or no people at all. So I believe they didn't have a budget to hire a lot of people on set. Is that how they were able to film very fast and get the production out the way? Because they're just doing scenes where you only need less people to film, and that's why things are interesting. They want to make the Wasteland feel more empty than it was before. Who can say? That's one of my theories of what's going on. But other than that, yeah. A lot of people, like I said, there's a lot of discussion. A lot of people are, once again, playing the games that they should. Hopefully Fallout 4 works for them. I haven't played Fallout 4 in a while, ever since they messed it up the first time around, and I just didn't want to pick it up. I went back to playing 76, New Vegas, and 3. But I might try it again, just try Fallout London, and the other games are kind of like the Long 15, which I need to download and play that one, by the way, because I heard that one was really good. But yeah, we're halfway there. Episode 4, we got 4 more episodes to go. All around, like I said, I did enjoy this episode, mainly with Lucy and Nicole, where they feel like they're finally getting along in a well, where they're not arguing. And then Max's things going out is just crap just hit the fan and it's all over the place. And I don't care what's really happening in the vault. I don't. All the important characters left and the characters that are there in the vault, I just don't care about. I just don't. They're not important enough for me. Now Norm's thing I like, but it seems like it's slowly growing. We'll see where it goes from here. And that's pretty much it. We'll see what happened to this place. Because even the goal was like, yo, what happened here? Why is everything so messed up? Everywhere he goes, he's questioning, like, why is everything in ruins? Like, yes, you had a war, but the fact that there's no civilization whatsoever at all in the Mojave, it's ridiculous to me. But that's all I got for this, man. Yeah, I don't know. I can't go on any longer. It's only been 30 minutes. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, and of course, hit that bell icon. This has been Madcrownxox. I'm Anime. Signing out.